Hey everyone, I hope you all are doing good and I hope you guys revised some of the concepts that we studied in the last three sessions about the HTML and CSS. So in today's session we are going to start with JavaScript, and if time permits we'll also understand a little bit of theory part of uh, backend, basically specifically what I can say Node.js and Express, and how we can create database and connect it with connect the MongoDB database with a Node. Okay, so let's get started. Uh, Give me a minute. I'll just share my screen and then we'll continue. Meanwhile, if you guys have any doubts, you can ask in the chat box. Else, we can continue further. Okay, give me a minute. Okay, can you guys confirm if my screen is visible? Okay, so okay, fine. Okay, so in the last few sessions, we studied the basics of HTML. What exactly, why we write HTML, how browsers interact with HTML, what are different types of tags that we have there. We created some of these tags. Then we studied how we can create forms, how we can create tables, and then we moved further with the CSS part. Okay, so if we look at this part, we studied about the colors, how we can add different type of colors, what are the three different methods of adding CSS to our HTML document. Then we studied about the text properties, what are the different types of text properties, including the text align, font weight, text decoration, line height, etc. Then we studied how we can access a selector on element and target that to specify style attributes to this particular file. Okay, so these all things we studied. Then we had the box model, which says that everything inside the CSS is a box, obviously. And if we look at it, then we have the inside box border, padding, width, and margin, and we specified how we can add styles to it. Then we studied a little bit about the display properties, like what is display inline, display block, and display inline block. And I told you guys that we should, you should go through display flex property on your own, if possible. Then we studied about what are the different type of units that we have, and then opacity and the alpha channel. We studied about that. Then we studied very important property, the position property in CSS, and we tried implementing all of them one by one. Then we studied about the transitions property and the transform property, followed by the background. So then I also told you that we can import Google fonts like this, and we can use them in our code. Now we now after that we studied how we can create javascript file. Like this is my index.html file, and at the end of the body I have to add a script tag which will render my javascript on the html document. So I created the script tag with the name of my javascript file, namely app.js, and I added some code in this. So I also explained you that this is the variable. So there are three types of variables: var, let, and const. And var is not used that often. Give me a minute. I'll be back in a second. Okay. Guys, bear with me for 5 minutes. I'll be back in 5 minutes, okay? And then we'll continue. Uh, really sorry, guys, for the delay. Let me start further with the session. So, what I was saying that we studied about different types of variables, right? So, we studied about the var, let, and const. So, there are three types of variable in which we can initialize the values that we have. So, here I initialized it with let, and I'll tell you the use case of it. But we have used here mat dot random. Okay, so this will generate random numbers and they will be stored in the variable x. And if I console log this, then and if I go to my console in the browser, I'll be able to see the value of x. Now if value of x is less than zero point 0.5, then I can log this or I can log this. So we can also use the conditional statements like this. Okay, that if I want to execute something, then I can use if, or I can use else for that. Okay, so yeah, this part we completed. Now moving on to what are the different data types that we can store and add in javascript. Okay, so one of them include arrays. So how we can do that, let me open copy the path and paste this in the browser. Okay, so right now it does not contain anything. I'll add one heading: I am learning about JavaScript. Okay, so this is the part that we have done. Let me refresh this. So we are able to get this on my screen. And if I go to this linked app.js file, then you can see that I have written something. So I'll just remove everything. So in the starting, what I was saying was I'll explain how the use cases of let, where to use let and where to use const. Okay, so bear with me for some time. For now, understand that here what I have done is I have initialized a color variable, and this is the syntax of array. So if I say let a equal to 1, so this contains only one value, right? What if on the same name I want to store more than one value, right? So for doing that, we use array. So this is the syntax of array. We write the variable name, the name of the variable type, the name of the variable. Then we open these square brackets, and inside that we write the things that we want. So this is string for now. I can also add let numbers. Okay, the name, and then opening this, and I can say 1 2 3 4 and 5. So I can also write numbers. I can also write point decimal values. So I can write here 1.5, 2.4, and all of these things. I can also do that. So that's how we initialize array. Right now, how we can access them, let me tell it to you. So for now, let me just remove this, and if I write here console log colors, okay, just like we were doing it yesterday, day before yesterday. And if I go back and open inspect here, go to console, and let me refresh this. So now you can see that I am console logging colors here, and I am able to log them here, right? And one more thing you can see very clearly, that they have some index representation of that kind of serial number, that red has 0 value, blue has 1, and orange has 2. So JavaScript initializes indexes to the array variables. Like this has index 0, this has index 1, and this has index 2. So if I want to access red only from here, so what I can write here, I can write colors 0. Okay, and as soon as I write this, then you will be able to see I am able to extract the value from my array. So that's how I can store more than one value in the array and access them according to my use case. Okay, I can also write here 2, so I'll be getting orange in that case. Okay, so that's how we use array. Now here also I have initialized days here, like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, right? So you can do that also. You can also add the different values together. For example, this is boolean value, this is numerical, this is string, and this is null. You can also do that. It's not like needed that if you are writing anything in string, then you have to add all of these things in string only, right? So what you can do here, you can write true 68, and you can do use mixed data types here. Okay, And if you want to, let's suppose, add any value, let's suppose you have created this day array, right? And you want to, inside this day array, you want to push Thursday also. Okay, you want to add that value. So what you can do is you can simply write days dot push Thursday. Okay, and now if I console log days, let's see what happens. Console log days. Okay, so let me refresh this. So now you can see that we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday here. So I have pushed this particular value in the days array, right? I can push more than one values also. I can write here day dot push uh, Friday. Okay, and this will also work completely fine. Okay, let me just console log it below pushing. Then if I refresh this, then you can see I am getting these particular value. Now in place of let's suppose I want to remove a value. For example, I want to remove Friday from here, I don't want it. Then what I can do, I can simply write here days dot pop, and it will pop the last value that I have in the array. So if I refresh this, let me just console log it below pop, and if I paste it here, click on refresh, so you can see now Friday has popped out. Again, if I do this a lot of times, let me copy this, paste this. I have done this pop 3 times. So you can see I am able to pop the values from the array accordingly. Now, uh, in similar way, I can initialize different like values. For example, this is the array, right? And I am pushing the values a lot of times, 45, 45, 25, 10, and 2.5, etc., right? So you can do that. And yeah, so that's also possible. Next up we have, yeah, the arrays part. So the theory part, let me explain it to you. So initialization, I told you earlier. So if we have array as a value 1 2 3 4, and we are trying to access 10th index, which is not present here, right? So in that case, our array will become 1 2 3 4, and then empty 5 empty values will be there, and then 10. So if I have added at a particular index, at array 10th index, the 10th value, then my new array will be something like this, and empty will be displayed there. Okay, so I told you about push, we can add to the end. Pop we can remove from the end, and shift will remove from the start, and unshift will add from the start. So what if you want to add something from the start, right? So you can use unshift for that, and if you want to remove a task, you can use shift for that. Okay, now for concat, I have concat means merging the arrays. Now let's suppose I have two arrays, and I can merge them, like I can join them. So let me remove this, and let's suppose I have colors one. Uh, okay, let colors one equal to red, blue, green. Okay, so this is my first array. I am also initializing the second array. Okay, this will be orange, okay, black, and brown, for that sort. Okay, I've initialized them. Now what if I want to join both of these arrays? I don't want them to be like separate. So what I can do, I can simply use colors one dot concat. Let me check it once if it was concat. Yeah, so what I can do, I can write here concat colors 2. Okay, now let me try console logging this. So if I console log colors 1, and I go back, click on refresh, let me console log both of them also. So I will console dot log colors 1. Okay, I will console log colors 2, and I am also logging after concatenation color 1. Okay, let me refresh this. So you can see I am getting color 1, I am getting color 2, but I am not able to concat color 1 and color 2, right? If I am console logging color 1, then I am not only getting color 1 also. This is because if you are concatenating something in color 1, it does not modify the original array. Okay, so you have to create a third array. For example, you have to create a let joined colors. Okay, so here you will write colors 1 dot concat colors 2, and in this particular value you will be able to store them. Okay, so if I now console log here join color, go back, click on refresh, so now you can see I am able to get the concatenated array here. So this is a very important part, that this particular value will not modify the original array, but you have to store this value somewhere by creating a new variable. So that's what I have done here. So you can concatenate the two arrays also. So what I can check, I can also check for array. There are a lot of methods that we have in array. So let's suppose I have this array dot includes, which will check if array has a particular value or not. So if I say array dot includes, for example, array dot includes, I can say array dot includes red. This will be colors 1. Okay, colors 1 dot include, and I will console log this particular thing to log what I am getting here, right? Let me do this, go back, click on refresh. So you can see I'm getting true value, right? So this colors dot include value returns true because I have red color in my colors 1. So what if I write violet? So since it's not present in the my array, I'll be getting false value, right? So this is the includes method. Then I can also check the index of a value. For example, I want to check the index of red, for example, in colors 1. So I can use index of, specify the index of red for me. So I'm getting 0 because this is the value of index for red. So I'm getting index of also. I can also reverse the array, and if I say here colors 1 dot reverse. Okay, I say colors 1 dot reverse, I save this, and then I try console logging this colors 1. Okay, now this is destructive. Okay, this reverse method is destructive. This will change the original array. So that's the important part, that concatenate will not change the original array, but reverse will change the original array. So if I refresh this, then you can see I am getting 3 values in the reverse order, right? So I can reverse them also. Then I can use array dot slice. So this will get a copy of slice of the array, like a portion of the array. Okay, and if I say array dot splice, so it changes the contents of the array by removing or replacing elements in the place. Okay, so this is the syntax, that I have to write start value of the index, how many things I want to delete, and the new values that need to be inserted. Okay, I can add here array dot sort. Okay, so this will not work. Okay, because you might be seeing this, that this works for C++, but this won't work for JavaScript. So array dot sort method, you have to sort it manually. You cannot use this because it converts everything to strings and then compares their code, like their Unicode character set. So you won't be able to work on this. So we have to create our own sorting function. Okay, now one important thing, like let's suppose I want to compare two values. Okay, so let me write it somewhere. So let's suppose I have 1 2 array. Let me take 1 2 only. I'll remove this. I'll say let numbers 1 array to be 1 2 3, and let numbers 2 array to be 1 2 3. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare if they are equal. Okay, so if I write here console dot log numbers 1 is equal numbers 2. If I write it like this, go back, click on refresh, so you can see I'm getting false even though both of them are same. The reason being, JavaScript, it does not compare the contents that are present inside the array. It compares where they are stored in the memory. Okay, so they are stored in the memory in a different way. Like numbers 1 is stored in a memory in a different location, and numbers 2 is stored in a memory in a different location. So JavaScript will consider number 1 and number 2 as plainly different, no matter what you write. If you write 3 equal to also here, you will still get false. So JavaScript, it does not compare content, it compare the references or address of the memory. So even though their content is same, they are completely different. Okay, now if I create a copy of let's suppose an array, like not like this, but I say numbers copy, let numbers copy is equal to number 1. If I do this and I try comparing number 1 with number copy, let's see what we get. Okay, let me click on refresh, so you can see now I'm getting true. So this, if I copy array, right, if I copy an array, then this will store the memory addresses of these values also, so that's why we'll be getting true in that case. So that's a very important part that we have. Next we have uh, changes in the nums, they will be reflected in nums copy too. So that's why they have the same memory references, so they will give true. Now I can use const num and I can still update it, but I cannot reassign the variable. What this means is I can write here, let's suppose I have this number 1, okay, and I say let numbers 1 equal to 567. Okay, I'm getting some error here, right? So I cannot redeclare values, okay, in a block scope variable. So that's a very important part, that if I am using some value, for example cost number also, I can update values that are present inside the const, but I won't be able to reassign the variable. Okay, so this will give me error. Same for const. Then I also have concept of nested arrays in JavaScript. So what this means is I can simply write here let numbers equal to 1 2 3, okay, then 4 5 6. You can see I have arrays inside arrays, and I can simply console log them to see that I am able to, that my JavaScript is able to read nested arrays also. So this will work completely fine for me. Okay, see I have nested arrays here, so you can also add nested arrays in this code. And I can this I told you earlier that I can have arrays of mixed data types. I hope the part of array is clear to all of you. If yes, then we can move further to the literals part. Okay. Okay, we'll continue in a minute again. Okay, we'll continue with the literals part now. So JavaScript objects, they are like there are a lot of objects that are in JavaScript. So they are collection of properties. Okay, so what is this collection of properties? So you can write something like this: const uh, fitbit data, for example, and inside this I have key value type pairs, right? I have total steps colon and this, and I can access them on my own. Let me tell it to you here. So what are JavaScript? We studied about arrays, now we are studying about JavaScript objects. This is also very important, and it is a lot used a lot in our in while we are doing code. So if I say const uh, object, or let's say const movie data, for example, I have specified the variable name, and if I open the parenthesis, and inside this I will give ID to this, for example, one. I can give a name to my name to the movie, so that can be ABC, or I can give the what I can say, the release date. Okay, the release date, or let's say release year will be easier. So I will write here 2021, for example, and similarly I can add more values here, right? I can write here genre. So I can, for genre I can write uh, let me add comma here. So for genre I can write here thriller. So this is how we create the syntax of creating JavaScript object. So if I console log movie date, let's see what we get on the console. So let me go back and click on refresh. So you can see I am getting my object in the console with genre, ID, name, and year. And the prototype I am also able to see it's an object. Okay, now what if I want to access values from this movie data? So what I can do, I can simply log console log movie data. I can add dot, and I can say movie data dot genre. I want this. So if I click on refresh, then you can see I'm getting thriller movie data dot genre. I can also console log movie data dot id, and if I refresh this, then I'm getting the id of my movie data. So that's how I can add objects in JavaScript. So here also uh, let's suppose I write here, one method is that this writing like this. Another method is let me check if this is working for my browser. uh, no, it's not working. So this has like deprecated a lot, so I don't think we'll be able to do this. Here I can, let me check if I can change the movie data id. Let me just check it once. If I say movie data id, change it to 3. Okay, and let me console log movie data. Let me see what get. No, we are not able to access it like this. Let me try single quotes. Okay, so if I want to change any value, access a value or change any value, what I can do is I can use movie data. I can provide the name of my key, right? And I can change it. So if I console a movie data, then you can see I'm able to change this particular value. Now by default, as I was saying, like why I added this particular value, like why I added it as a string, right? So this is because by default all keys are converted to strings. So that's why we are adding the key values in string, and I am able to access that. Const years are also there. Okay, 1999 was good, 2020 is bad, so I can access 1999. Okay, and this will also work equally well. Okay, now what is the difference between this dot and this notation, like both of these notations that we have specified here? So I can put expressions, like for example I want fitbit data total plus mile. So I can do this, and I'll be able to get the value. So I can do calculations between my key pairs. So that's why we use these square brackets. And if I want to simply log the data, then I can use dot. Okay, so this will work completely fine. Now what we have here is, yeah, We can also add new key value pairs by using object dot key is equal to value. If I do this, then I'll be able to add new key value pairs to my object also. So I can make array of objects also. Now let me tell it to you. This is object for now. Now let's suppose I want to add more of these values here in the movie data. So what I can do, I can create one array of object. So if I just comment this out, okay, so you might be able to see the difference. So if I write here const movie data is equal to, I will open the square brackets which represents that this movie data is an array, and inside the array I can store objects also. So what I can do, I can simply open this parenthesis, and this will define that I am writing an object inside this. And if I write here id1 uh, name movie 1, okay, and genre will be thriller. I can write here release date. Release date will be 1999, for example. Similar to this, I will add another object inside my array, and I will name it 2. I will say movie 2. Genre will be, let's say, comedy, okay, and similarly to this, release date I can change it to 2024, and here I can also add third object. This will be my movie 3. Genre will again be thriller, and I can add release date as 2014, for example. And if I go back, click on refresh, let me console log this movie data, go back, click on refresh. So you can see now I am getting array which contains objects inside this, right? At 0 index I have first my first id1 movie. On the first index I have second movie, and on the second index I have the third object. So how I can access that? So I can simply write here movie data, and this is present at my 0 index, right? So I will write here movie data at 0 index, identify the name of the movie. Okay, so movie data at 0 index, identify the name of the movie. If I console log this, let's see what we get. If I refresh this, then you can see I'm getting the movie 1 value, right? So if I want to access second index, and I want to identify the name, or let's say genre, okay, let me go back, click on refresh, so you can see I'm getting thriller. For one, I'll be getting the genre as comedy. So that's how I can access array of objects also here. Okay. Now, yeah. So I can make array or object, or object with an object inside it. So I can create array of object also, and I can create object of object also. So I can simply write here const object of object. Okay, object of object, and I will open this. Okay, inside this I can also specify uh, id, for example, will be id will be 1. Okay, the name can be somewhat object 1. Okay, and similarly to this I can add more values here. So that's how I can also specify object of object also. Okay, so I can also specify objects which has arrays inside them. So I can do all of these tasks accordingly. Fine. So this will take a lot of time, so I won't go further with this. But we can add these particular values based on our use case. Let's change it from here, for example, and this should work fine. Okay, this syntax will be a little bit different. You can check this on the internet, what will be the syntax, but you can do this. Okay, I'm not able to remember the syntax, but you can do these stuffs. So this is object literals. Now the next part that we are going to study about is loops that we have. So let's suppose I want to display the name of the this is the name of the movie. I want to display all of these names. Okay, so how I can do that? I can write movie one dot name. movie 0 dot name, and I can write console log again, and I can write here movie data 1 dot name. Okay, in the third part I can write console log movie data dot movie data 2 dot name, and then I'll be able to get all the three values of my movie data. Okay, if I go back, click on refresh, so you can see I'm getting three values. But if you see very clearly, I'm writing the same thing three times and I'm only changing the index values, right? So it increases your code, like you are increasing the number of lines of your code, and you are just simply writing the same thing again and again, only changing the index values, right? So it, your code is not very reusable, or you are repeating a lot of things. So to improvise, to correct this issue, what we do is we use the concept of loops. So there are different types of loops: for loop, while loop, for off, for in. So there are a lot of loops. So if I simply write here, in place of doing this three times, what I can do, I can write for, I can specify a variable, let I equal to, it will start from, I want this index to start from 0, so I will write here I start from 0, semicolon, I should be less than or equal to 2, right? I should be less than or equal to 2, and I will be incremented I plus plus. And if I open this, and here if I add this line console log, so everything will be same here that we were doing right now, movie data, only in place of what is changing, like 0, 1 and 2, this index is changing. I will add I here, and I will write here dot name. Okay, now if I go back, I click on refresh, then you can see instead of writing this three times, I'm able to do this for once and I am good to go. Like I am able to access this. Similarly, let's suppose uh, I have const number, okay, is equal to 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and what I want to do is I want to add these numbers. So traditional method would be, I would say let sum equal to number 0 plus number 1, right? And I have to do this a lot of times, like I have to do this for, I don't know how many times I have to do. Okay, sum equal to sum plus number 2, and then again I have to repeat this for lot of indexes, right? So in after then I'll be able to sum all these numbers. So in place of doing this, what I can do is I can simply add a loop for let I equal to, I will start from index 0, then I will be less than or equal to what is the index 8, and I will be incremented. Okay, then I will write here let sum is equal to number sum plus number. Okay, let sum plus number and the value of the index, and this will happen after the loop is completed. I can simply write here console.log and sum the value, then I'll be able to get the sum of this particular value. Okay, sum cannot be accessed before initialization, so this means that inside the block, like inside the parenthesis, I won't be able to access this sum. So I can move it here, this will work completely fine. Or I can initialize sum outside the for loop, this will also work. Okay, so this part is also, I guess, clear. There are a lot of syntax that we have, like looping over array is just similar to C++, and let me show you one of the examples that we have. The first method I told you earlier also, what we can do is we can use this for loop and console log the I value. Second is we can print 20 values also. We can use this to print like animals separately in one line. I can also pass all of these values. So that's how we can use array, right? So the next is what we have here is, okay, so now these all things are done. Okay, there is a task for all of you. What we are going to do is we are going to create a to-do list. Okay, so what this will do is, let me open this once, copy the path and paste this in the browser. Copy the path and paste this in the browser. So there is one more important thing that I have not told you about is a prompt. Okay, so let me explain it to you once. So uh, what is prompt? Just like an alert, we have a prompt also. Let me open something that we have, a to-do list app.js only. I will comment this everything out. Okay, and I will click on refresh here. Okay, okay, this is for app.js only, index.html. Let me just copy the path again and paste it here. I've commented out everything. Okay, so this is a plain HTML document right here. Okay, what we are going to do here is we are going to create a list, right? So if what will happen in this list, so suppose this is a to-do list. Okay, this is the heading, and if user writes new, then it should add a task. If user write list, then it should list all the tasks. And if user write delete, then it should remove specific task. Okay, and if it says quit, then it will quit the app. And we have connected the our JavaScript code accordingly. So this is the HTML of that. Now for taking all the values, how we can take these values from the user, for that we are using prompt. Okay, so what I will do here is I will take a query variable. Okay, if you see this, then I am taking the query, and inside this I am writing prompt, what would you like to do. Now if I go back and if I click on refresh, then you can see I'm getting a prompt on the screen saying what would you like to do, and it's asking me to enter a value. And if I write here new and I click on OK, then I am again redirected back to my HTML. So the new that I had written there is stored in this query variable. Let me just console log this query. Okay, and if I go back, I click on refresh, so it's saying what would you like to do. I am writing here new, and if I click on OK, I go back to my console. Then you can see I am able to log the query value, right? From line number 4 it's coming query. So I can again refresh the page and I can say list. Okay, and I can click on enter. Then you can see I am able to log the list value, right? So this is how prompt works, and this is how we are going to take value from the user, that what exactly user want to do. If he's saying new, list, delete or quit, so this part we have done. We have taken the query value from the user. Now there is another type of loop that we have, which is the while loop. Okay, so while loop syntax is also very simple. You have to simply write here while. Okay, now while means up till when, right? Up till this loop will continue working up till when the query value is not equal to quit that we want, right? Up till when the query value is not equal to quit, then this particular things, a command of course that we are going to like work. Okay, so for suppose if I write console log hey, I am inside while loop. Okay, and if I save this, so and I go back, let me click on refresh. So if I say new, not quit, so you can see it's going infinite times, right? The loop is not stopping, and I am able to console log hey, I am inside loop for these many times. Let me just stop it. Okay, I go back, I cross this, I click on refresh. So this has stopped. So let me open this again, copy the path and paste it again. So here it's generating a prompt. So I have removed the loop. So now I'll be able to add the value, right? So that's how while loop works. Okay, so while loop will continue working up till when we don't have a quit value entered by the user. Now for doing this particular task, what we can do is we can take value from the user up till when the value of query that the user is entering is not equal to quit, and the query value is not equal to q. User can also write q or user can also write quit. Okay, so up till when this is not happening, we have to execute some block of code. So what we are going to do is I have added the if condition inside this. So this line will work. We'll come inside the while loop and it will check if query value is equal to new. If we are writing query value as new, not quit but new, then we'll go inside this and I will ask for another prompt. Okay, and it will say enter a new task. Then I have created an empty task array here, and as soon as the user enters the task, this I will push this particular task in the tasks array. Okay, this will be pushed in the task array. And if I console log, let's say task, for example, here console log tasks, for example, then might be able to see the difference. Okay, for now what we are doing is we are uh, okay, let me just comment the else if part. For now I only have the if part. Okay, now I don't have anything. I only have a while loop which says the query is quit or queue. If it's not quit, then go under the if condition and check if query is new. Okay, so if query is new, then I'll be asked to enter a prompt, enter a new task, and that task I am pushing to the task array and then console logging the task. So let me go back, click on refresh. Let me open the wait. Okay, let me add a new task, or let's say I add quit. Okay, so this will quit the while loop. So this is happening. Let me refresh this again. Okay, so now I'm going to add a new. Okay, so I want to add a new task. Now it's asking me for a prompt, enter a new task. I said new. Now I'm again prompted to get a new task. So I will say eating, for example. I will say eating as a new task. If I click on OK, you can see I'm able to log the eating task in the console, and it's also displaying eating added to the list. If it's again asking me that this loop will not stop up till until I write quit. So this will continue working and continue asking me for the prompt. If I write here sleeping now and I click on OK, then you can see that sleeping will also be added to the list. Now what I want to do is what would I like to do? So I will write here new and I will add a new task that will be sleeping, for example. Okay, and if I click here, you can see now I'm getting two tasks, right? Then again, what would you like to do? I want to again add a new task. So here enter the task name. So this will be playing, for example. Okay, if I click on OK, now playing is also being added to the list. So I hope this part is clear to all of you, how we can add a new task. Now this part we have done of adding the new task to the list. Now what I want to do, I want to list all the tasks. So this is so very easy. If user ask if query is new, then add to the list. Else if the query is let's suppose the query is what I can say, yeah, give me a minute. Okay, so let's suppose the query is list, right? If user is adding list, so I should get the list that is up till now for the task, right? So if I go back and I click on closing this and I click on refresh. Let me refresh the page again. I will write here quit. Okay, quit everything. What would you like to do? I would like to quit. Okay, now it has quitted. Now I refresh this again, and now what I want to do is I want to add a, let's suppose, new task. Okay, or let's say I want to list all the tasks that I have right now. So if I click on OK, then you can see it's empty right now. Why empty? Because we have not added any task here. So now I will add a new task, and here enter a new task. I will add eating as a new task. Okay, so eating will be added to the list. Again, what I would like to do, I want to uh, list the task that I have added up till now. So if I click on this, then you can see I am getting the value of in the list. So based on the user prompt, I can do, if now I want to quit, so I will simply write quit, and this will quit my task app, right? So this is the else if part. Now another important part, what if I want to delete the task that I have? Okay, so if I want to delete the task, so what I can do, I can simply write a query delete, and I can parse in the prompt, enter the task that I want to delete again. Okay. Now if number is not available, like if number is like deleted, then I will write here deleted, and then I will splice or delete that particular task from there. Okay. Enter the task you want to delete. So this will parse and means that this will change this particular value that is coming from the prompt to some to calculative value, and then what we are going to do, we are going to check if number is there, then we have deleted this, and I will use the task dot splice, and I will delete it from that particular one value from the array. Okay, so that's how we can use the delete one. And if any of the tasks that is not present here, then in the end I can write I did not understand that please enter a valid query. Okay, now let me refresh everything again. Now if I want to add a new task, so here I can add eating. Okay, I will add a lot of tasks now. I again want to add a new task. I want to add sleeping as a task, then new again, coding as a new task, and I again uh, add a new task of mm, eating, sleeping, coding. What else we can add? Uh, Singing, for example. Okay, so these are the tasks that I have added. Now I want to list the tasks that I have, right? So now I am able to list them. Now if I want to delete, so I will write here delete the task, and it will ask me what, enter the task that I want to delete. So I want to delete eating. Okay, so it will work, and if I again list the task, then I'll be getting the updated value, right? So that's how we can do this. Now if anything of that not happens, so I will console log okay quitting the app, and I can simply, let me comment this out again, and I can go back. I can write here quit everything. I can refresh this. Okay, and I again be prompted, if I write here quit, then I'll be getting quit okay quitting the app. So now I hope this to-do list app is clear to all of you. You can take the screenshot of this code if you want, and you can practice this on your own. Then we'll continue further. Okay, we'll continue in a minute. Okay, let's continue further. So if you guys have any doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll move further. Do you guys have anything to ask? Anything that you, any concept that you were like not able to understand much? Then we can discuss that also. Okay, if that's the case, then we can move further. So yeah, so we have completed the part of the to do list app. Now let me explain you a little bit about the uh, what we get, like the types that we have in the variables. So you can store numerical values, string value, boolean value, null, undefined, symbol, and big integer. You can add all of them in the javascript value. So JavaScript has one number type, and you can have any positive, negative, whole value, and decimal number in that. Okay. Now, if you want to represent this 0 by 0, then you will be getting NaN or not defined as a value, right? And if you write how you initialize this, we have already studied so far. Now, const is a constant variable, and you won't be able to change it at later part of your code. Okay, and var is old way to declare variable, but we don't use it, and it does not have a block scope. What block scope means is you can use it outside the parenthesis also, but you won't be able to use the const there. Okay, so it does not have a block scope, and we can change the types of the variables also. Now, similar to array, we have strings in JavaScript. So strings also have indexing in them. Let me open. Yeah. So strings also have indexing in them. Okay, they have some inbuilt properties. For example, you can check the length of the string. So if I let me create a new file only somewhere around .js loops part index.html. Okay, this is the loop one. I am going to change it. Here we are going to study about strings. Okay, strings. Let me open this in the browser, paste this. So title is strings, and let me add one heading also, learning learning about strings. Okay, let me refresh this. So I am learning about the strings here. Now, associated app.js file. Okay, this is the associated app.js file. I'm removing everything from here, and let me open the console. Quickly open the console. Now, strings, if I define, let A is equal to uh, hello. Okay, let's define this, and if I console log this, then I'll be able to see hello on the console. Right now, they have some inbuilt properties that I was describing about. Let me close this everything, and I have let me close this also. This is not required. Done. And then I'll open the nodes. So it's saying that I can use the string.str.length function. So if I want to know the length of a, I can simply write a dot length. Okay, and if I go back, click on refresh, so you can see I'm getting the length of my hello string. So if I write here hello, I am learning about strings. Okay, and I click on refresh, so you can see I'm getting the full text length including the white spaces also. So it's calculating the white spaces. So you can see it's calculating the white spaces also. So that's how we can add string to it. Okay, we can use this to calculate string length. If I want the first letter only in my string, for example I want h only, so what I can do, I can write here a 0. So similar to array, we have indexing in this also, so I'm able to access h. Suppose I want to access 26th character of the string, so I can also do that. Okay, so that's how strings work. We can also do concatenation in strings. Okay, so I can concatenate two strings. For example, I have this a string. Okay, let b is equal to hello, I am b, for example, and I say console log. Okay, console dot log. I let me try doing this. I have not done this, so might get some error, but let's check. Refresh this, so you can see I am able to join these two strings, right? We can concatenate them. We can concatenate index with string also. So we can do all of these things. So you can search on the internet, there are a lot of string methods. We won't go in all of them, but you can convert a string to uppercase, you can trim a string to remove white spaces in the beginning and the end. You can also chain the methods together, like you can use methods together one after the other, and you can also find the index of something you want to find. You can also slice from beginning and end. You can also replace the values in the string, and you can also repeat the string 10 times, so this will be repeated 10 times. Okay, now these are some template literals that we have. So the you brought plus you write quantity and something like that. So for example, you want to use a variable in your string, so what you can do, you can simply write here, for example, I am learning about strings and I want to write one inside this particular string only. Okay, or let's say I have a new string, let str let str equal to, I will add this, so hello, I am printing number, and let me take let number is equal to 7, for example. Okay, so what I will do, I will use dollar symbol and I will open this and I will write here number. Okay, I will refresh this, so you can see let me console log str also, console log. So let me refresh this, so you can see I'm able to print 7 number also. So that's how we can use strings with the variables also, right? Now null, if there is absence of any value, if I'm not able to find, then it will give null. And if you have not assigned any property or the variable type is not defined, then it will get undefined. Okay, now there are also some math object. For example, I told you there's math.random. So we also have mat.py, mat.round, mat.absolute, pow, and floor. You can do this, and you can also use the mat.floor value. Okay, so it will convert a number string to a number. So parseint, this will convert a string to a number. So you can use parseint for that also. Okay, so I hope this part is clear to all of you. Okay, this part is clear to all of you. Then we have the Boolean logic. Triple equal to means strict equality, and not triple equal to double equal to means strict inequality. So I can compare the strings also. and they can be compared on the basis of Unicode. Okay, so double equal to, and this, if double equal to checks for equality but not equality of types. So if I have one and I have a string one, both of them will give me true value. Okay, so double equal to is not very accurate in when considering data types. So if I use triple equal to, then this will give me false. So that's an important part. Now console, in place, up till now we were doing console.log. We can also do console.clear, console.time, console.warn, and console.dir. We can also use them. And alert and prompt, we have studied about that. Now the next part comes is the functions in JavaScript. So we can also, in place of doing like things like this, I can specify a function for that and do that accordingly. Let me show it to you once. So suppose I want to print this function, so I have specified the function, the name of the function, and I have console log this. Okay, now if I call this particular function, we, how to call this, I can call this by using this particular value, then I'll be able to console log this. Okay, so I can call this a lot of times. So function calling improves code reusability. So if you want to use this same function somewhere else, you can simply call this and you'll be good to go. Okay, now let's suppose you want to pass values in a function. So you'll simply say function greet, and inside this is known as the parameter. Sorry, this is the parameter. So if you are passing this particular function greet, and inside this you'll pass something like what person name you want to specify. So for example, I write here ABC, then I'll be able to console log hi ABC. Okay, so this will be a, how we can pass parameters here. Then I can pass more than one parameter like first name and last name, and I can simply pass them here like this. So I'll be able to console log that also. Then I can repeat the numbers. For example, uh, I can say pass the string and the number, and I can use them accordingly. Okay, I can add the result. I can also add two numbers. I can create a function for adding two numbers. So this will return, what will return do, return will return a value of the function. So when your function is returning anything, you will store that returned value in some variable. So answer, for example, you will say let answer equal to name of the function. Since it's returning anything, so you'll write it like this, and you will add here 1 and 2, and if you console log, you will be able to get the return value, that is the value of adding 1 and 2. Okay, so that's how we can call functions. So you can try this on your own and take the screenshot if you want, and we'll continue further. And if you guys have any doubts, you can ask. Since it's a little bit important concept, then we'll move further. Okay, so give me 2 to 3 minutes, then we'll continue. Okay, so if there are no doubts, let's continue further. Okay, so this is the syntax of function. Then uh, let's suppose I want to call a function inside function. I can do that also. Now let's suppose this is the function, right? And I have initialized const heroes here in the variable. And if I add another function inside this and I try calling this particular function, cry for help. So this particular function, since it's declared inside bank robbery, so this will work fine, completely fine. So this is an example of nested function. I hope this part is clear to all of you, how we can write nested function. Just look at the syntax of it, and if you are able to understand the syntax, you will be able to write the function also. Okay, so you can also write a function like this. This is another method, but if you know one method, that's enough. When you will be able to write this, then you can check out how what are the other different methods for writing function. Okay, now what are higher order functions? So in JavaScript, higher order functions accept other function as a parameter. So right now, up till now, what we were passing in parameters, we were passing values like variables 1, 2, 3, 4, all of these things we were passing. But if we are passing the function only as a parameter, for example, here uh, there's no example. Let me check. Yeah. So here I have passed a func parameter which takes the input as a what I can say function. So here, if you see this, the call twice function, and I am passing here roll die function. Okay. So this is roll die function that I have created, and I'm passing it as a parameter to my call twice function. And if I look at the call twice function, I'm accepting this function and then calling it twice. So two times my roll die function will work similar to the parameter. So call twice in this case is known as the higher order function. Okay, now make mystery function, since it's using mat.random. See, this is it. Inside this I have a function, and uh, if random number is greater than zero point 0.5, then I am returning this function. And if I am not able to get this random value greater than zero point 0.5, then I'll be returning this function. Okay, so I can also return functions inside a function. Okay, so all these functions that are interacting or taking function as a parameter, they are known as higher order function. Okay, it's nothing else beyond that. It's nothing like very complicated. Okay, now the next part is that is important is the try catch block. So if you are doing something, for example, you are console logging something, and if you encounter an error, for example, you get some error in console logging this, then this will automatically go to the catch block and it will catch the error that is happening, and it will console log that error. Okay, so please pass a string next time. So if you catch an error, you say please pass a string next time. So that's how inside the function for increasing the readability or to check to for debugging better debugging options, what you do is you add console logging at a lot of places and use this try catch block, okay, inside the function. So if try will not work, you will go to the catch block and you will able to catch the errors accordingly. Now we have some array methods, okay, so that we can implement on the array. Let me tell it to you from here. So there are basically three types of array methods that we are going to study. The first one is the for each among them. Okay, so how for each works. So let's suppose I have an array containing 20 numbers, and I print, and I have created a function which says print the elements. Okay, It's a different function. So I have created this, that whatever I will pass, it will simple console log this. Okay. Now what I do is I let me just tell it to you by commenting out everything from here. Okay, give me a minute. Okay, so for now in this particular code file, let me open the uh, HTML file of this also. I copy the path and I paste this in the browser. Okay, now it does not have anything, so I will write here h1 array methods. Okay, so among these array methods, I'll tell you that we have three types of array methods. The first one is the for each. The second one is the array method for each. The second one is what I can say, uh, for each. Second one was map, and the third one is map, and the third one is uh, what was the third one? I guess it was set timeout or something. Okay, third one was the arrow function. Okay, so there are three types of methods. Let me refresh this page. So I should get something. Array method. Let me refresh. Save this and refresh. So if I open the console, go to the console, I'm not getting anything for now, right? So uh, I am calling this, I've created this function, I have named the array. Now if I print three numbers from my array, right? For example, I console log console log number 0, then I'll be getting 1. If I console log 1, I'll be getting 2. So what is the use of for each? So I can simply use this particular line number dot for each, and I will pass the function. Like for each value that is present in the array, I want to call this function. Okay, so for each value, for 1 this will function will be called, for 2 this function will be called, and that's how it will work for all. So now this will do what? This will console log my element. If I go back and I click on refresh, then you can see I am able to console log each of the element one by one, since I have passed inside the for each this print function. Okay, now numbers dot for each function and this element. So what I can do inside instead of creating a predefined function, I can create function inside for each also, like this. Now let's suppose I have movie. So if I want to print the title of all these movies, so I can create a function that will print movie title, and I can call it inside the for each. So for each the function name. Similar to this, we have map. Now let's suppose I want to map something. For example, inside ROFL, I want to add number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what I can do is I can simply say doubles equal to number dot map and return number into 2. So now new array will be created named doubles, and it will contain all the values that are multiplied by 2. Okay. Similar to this, I can also map movie dot title to uppercase. I can change all the titles to uppercase and store them in the new map variable. Now instead of yeah, using the functions, I can also create arrow functions. So if I simply write the parameter and return x plus y, so I can simply use the const keyword and add the parameter here and use it accordingly. So this is known as the arrow function, this particular syntax. I can also create a lot of functions. You can check this out, practice this on your own, and you'll be able to do these functions, create these functions. You can take the screenshot of the part of the map if you want, and then we'll continue further. Okay, so let me comment out these things. Okay, you can take the screenshot of this, and then we'll continue further. Okay, so give me a minute. Yeah, let's continue further. Now there are some of the functions that we have, predefined functions, what I can say, that we have. The one is the set timeout function, okay, and the another one is the filter. Okay, so let me show you what all these do. So if I have, I'll now explain the syntax of all of them. You can try them on your own. So let's suppose I have this particular console log. Just let me comment this out for once, all of the part of the filter. Okay, now let me open the associated HTML file with this. So this is the associated file. I'll go back and I paste this in the browser. So now uh, if you look very closely, I don't have anything in my app.js file. Everything is commented for now. Now I will console log this hello value. Now let me open the inspect and I click on refresh, go to console. You can see I'm getting this hello value. Now this is the set timeout function that we have in JavaScript. We define set timeout. We add console log, are you still there? And comma, we add a duration. This duration is known as the time. Okay, this is 3 seconds, 3000 milliseconds. So this is 3 seconds. Okay, and after that, what I do is I console log goodbye. But for now, I'm doing are you still there? So if I click on refresh, then I will get are you still there value after 3 seconds. Okay, so I can set the timeout and I can say are you still there? Okay, set timeout value. So let me show this to you again. So here I have added set timeout and it's saying are you still there? So this is what is called set timeout. One more important thing, that JavaScript functions are asynchronous in nature. That is, if one task is happening, then another task will stop and the another task will start working. So it- this set timeout function is asynchronous in nature in JavaScript. So which means that if this particular task, like this console log, is taking time, then it will be put on hold and then another line will be executed of the code. So if I click on refresh, you can see hello and goodbye I am getting, and after 3 seconds I am getting are you still there, right? So this is set timeout. Set timeout is asynchronous in nature. Now if I want to clear the for example, uh, this is done, right? Set timeout is done. I can delay my task by adding the set timeout function, and it is asynchronous in nature. Now let's suppose I want to set an interval, right? That do this particular task at an interval of, let's suppose, zero point 0.5 seconds. Okay, zero point 0.5 seconds, do this task. So it's saying generate random numbers for a duration of uh, what I can say, a set interval, and do this random number generation for after a duration of zero point 0.5 seconds. Let me click on refresh. So you can see I am able to print these numbers after a duration of zero point 0.5 seconds. I can also increase this. I can also make it to 1 seconds, for example. Or if I make it, let's say, now this will happen infinitely. Give me a minute. Where is the okay? So this is happening after a duration of 1.5 second, and it's happening for the infinite time. So if I want to stop it, I'll simply say clear interval and timer ID, right? And if I do this, then this will stop. Okay, so after some duration, I can simply stop it. So that's the use of set interval. So we have set timeout and set interval. Both of them are asynchronous in nature. Now suppose I have this array variable, right? And I want to filter numbers by saying that only return those numbers which are less than 10. So if I do this, so I will only be able to return the numbers which are less than 10, like up till 10 only. So if I refresh this, let I have to console log numbers also, right? This will modify the number value. Let me console log number here and click on refresh. A number is not defined, numbers will be there. numbers, and I click on refresh. So you can see I'm getting these 20 values. Why it's not filtering? Numbers dot filter return n less than 10. I have to call this function somewhere. Let me check how we'll call. Okay, for now understand that this is the filter method that we can use. I also want to filter the movies. Okay, so I am storing this value somewhere, so I have to store it. So I will store it in another array. I will store it as const new array. Okay, and I will store the number filter value inside this, and I will call this new array. Okay, now this will not modify the original one. Now you can see I'm only getting all the values which are less than 10, so I can use this particular filter also. I hope this part is clear to all of you. Now this is what I was saying, that set timeout will have a delay in code execution, and set interval will call a function after every x seconds that we'll specify, and filter creates a new array with all the elements that return true for the given function condition. Okay, now they are not important parts. Let me check. Okay, so as I was saying that we have JavaScript is single threaded. Okay, so it can only return one line of code at a time. So if some task is there, it takes 5 seconds to happen. Does that mean our code will pause for 5 seconds? So this will not happen. So for our browser does what? It's written in C++. Okay, so JavaScript hands the task to the browser, and browsers will do the asynchronous task accordingly. Okay, so like set time, what was happening in set timeout, this second function was called, and then console log of this was happening because our browser is doing what? If some task is taking a lot of time, we store them as a callback function. Okay, it will stored as a callback function, and then we'll call it later on in our code. Okay, so we can do that also. The next important part that we have is the promises. So how we can create a promise? So let me show it to you. This is the code for the promise. So let's suppose I have created a const function here, arrow function. It's saying delayed color changed, and I am passing two parameters here, color and the delay number. Okay, now I will return a new promise. So promise takes two parameters, resolve and reject, and it will have a set timeout. Then it will resolve and give me the delay. So what this resolve and reject do is they resolve the values that are present, like change this particular value and then return accordingly. So now delayed color changed, and if I write dot then, okay, so this will happen for a duration of delayed color change will happen for a duration of 1 second. Dot then, you have to do this. So what this resolve value is doing here, it's taking the value what I have to do after then. Okay, then again resolve, again then again resolve, then it will again check for then. And when you are not able to resolve anything, like after this then there is nothing, you will go to the catch block, and you will say this isn't supposed to happen. But if it's completed, you will move out of this function, right? So let me open this once to tell it to you how it's working. So it's connected with this HTML file, and I am saying I am changing the background color of this particular file, right? So if you see this, I am able to change the color of my screen after a duration of 1 second, right? So why it's happening? It's happening because of the promises. Okay, so let me open this. Yeah, so that is happening due to the reason of promises. So that's how you can create a new promise. This is the syntax of creating a new promise. So if you want, you can take the screenshot of this and try building something out like this on your own. Okay, one more important thing is that promises are used with asynchronous functions only. That's why we are using set timeout here. Okay, so this will return a new promise to us accordingly. So I hope this part is clear to all of you, right? So another important part is async and await. So async functions, they help us write clean async code, and they are nothing new. So async functions, they always return a new promise to us. So we write async, and then similar to what how we were writing the function. So if our function returns a value, our promise is resolved with that value. And if I want to reject a promise, then I will write simply throw new error or throw string. And await helps us write the synchronous code. So if I want to if I am asyncing something and then I want to await the value, then I can use here await and then accordingly use the async await. So for example, if we it will pause the execution of our async function and wait for the promise to be resolved. So suppose I have called this async function, and if I don't write await, then it will move it will, if there is some delay, it will instantly move to the other part. Okay, so for example here, if I don't write await, so what will happen? Red will not get executed because it's taking a time of 1 second, and instantly your orange will be displayed on the screen. So in order to prevent this, we use await functions wherever possible. Okay, let me show it to you once. So here, suppose login is happening, and you have written async here. So if username and password is not there, you will throw missing credentials. So throw will be when your promise has is been rejected, right? Because you are using async, so you will throw missing credential because your promise has been rejected. And if it has done, then you will return welcome, or else you will throw invalid password. That's the basic use case how we use async and await functions. And if I want to use async and await together, so let me show you some example of that also. So see here, I have async function and I await all of these tasks now. Okay, so by awaiting, they will wait for some time before moving on to the next task. Okay, so here async is doing what? It is creating an asynchronous function, but at the same time await is stopping that asynchronous nature and creating the synchronous nature to move that. Okay, so this is how we use async and await together. Now, some basics about the APIs. So when you are creating your servers, you create APIs for that. Okay, so uh, is API stand for application programming interface. So an interface where one piece of software interacts with another software. Okay, so that's how server interact. For example, if you go to www.google.com and you say slash ID of something, then you will be redirected to that particular part. Okay, for example, this is some API. So if I go to slash API, then I'll be able to hit the server of this particular part. So when we create servers, we create APIs so that our front end can interact with it accordingly. So, and we want raw information to be displayed on the front end, so we use APIs. So there is example also, we use Twitter API, and we can find out who mentioned us in a tweet without opening the app, right? So if we are using Twitter API, then we can simply interact with our front end code to the Twitter's API, right? And we can check who has mentioned a tweet, or tweet is done with what. So there are two common formats in which we pass basically the values. First is the XCML, which is not no longer used, and the second one is JSON. Okay, so we can pass the values as a JSON and get them as JSON also. Okay, so you can study about this. See here is this is your data. Okay, and here we have the key value pair, but they are inside the uh, colon, like in the colon. Okay, so this particular syntax is known as the uh, JSON syntax. Okay, and you can parse this data anywhere wherever you want. Okay, you can JSON.stringify, you can convert it to string, you can also simply parse it like this. Okay, then we have a lot of things here. Okay, if time permits, we'll be able to do that, but I think for today it's very overwhelming. It will be very overwhelming if we go to the, for 8 to 9 minutes we'll go to the backend part, right? So I hope everything that we have studied today is clear to all of you, and if you guys have any doubts you can ask, and from this you can create websites. What all things we have studied, you can try building some of the websites and continue with another things, like creating the server, no, using Node.js and connecting it with databases such as MongoDB. So if you guys have any doubts, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll simply end the session.